Components of special and inclusive education. The aims of this topic is to describe the components and processes involved in identifying children through assessment and providing varied means of support. At the end of this chapter, you are expected to enumerate the processes involved in child find through the pre-referral process, identify the assessment tool, methods and principles in working with child with additional needs, identify the different placement within a continuum, compare accommodation and curriculum modification, and lastly, identify ways how to involve parents as part of the homeschool collaboration. Child find through a pre-referral process. Referral for evaluation and special education services begins by identifying students who have additional needs and who may be risked for developmental disabilities. Multi-school guidance counselor, early childhood teachers, primary school teachers, and community-based daycare workers are often the first notice such developmental delays in children. In other instances, the parent himself noticed the delays and seek consultation with pediatricians and other specialists. Pre-referral process. A child noted to have significant difficulties in relation to expected competencies and developmental milestones may be referred by parents and teachers for observation and assessment. A team of professionals, also known as a pre-referral team, comprised of special education teachers, counselors, administrators, and psychologists who collaborate to determine the reason for the observed challenges of the students. They collaborate to find ways to meet the needs of the children who has a developmental delays. Provide an assessment model that begins with the pre-referral process. Children with noted developmental delays and difficulties are identified through observation and use of norm and criterion reference tests. They are not immediately referred for special education testing, but first, they provided with the necessary academic and behavioral support needed to address the noted challenges of the children. It explained that the initial step is to determine teaching areas where a learner will benefit from additional support through a variety of means. Very young students who are at risk or suspected to have additional needs may also be identified through community-based screening. Child development and social workers use developmental screening tools such as the Early Care Childhood and Development. So once a program of peripheral intervention has been designed, the implementation and evaluation will be followed to determine how effective it is in addressing the needs of the children. Pre-referral strategies. Essential in pre-referral intervention is used to pre-referral strategies that are designed to provide immediate instructional and or behavior management support to a child. Using such strategies lessen the number of cases preferred for special education and make efficient use of time and of financial resources that could have been spent for special education assessment. So this will also lessen the tendency of over-referral to special education and wasting time as children waited to be tested rather than receive instructional and behavioral support they need. Examples. Pre-referral strategies are observation of child's behavior including interaction with parents, teachers, and peers. Interview parents and teachers to gather more information about the child, review of school records, and analysis of the child's academic output through errors analysis, portfolio assessment, and criterion reference and curriculum-based assessment. Depending on the information gathered, corresponding changes can be made to manage the children's needs, such as modification of the classroom environment, instructional support, and relevant classroom and behavior management. So this is the peripheral process. So first is the initial identification. So this is the recognition of potential problems, parent or teacher's observation and review of school records and classroom observation. The second one is determination of teaching areas and strategies, where you can have a small group instruction of the children and direct instruction. The next one is the implementation of teaching programs. It is additional in class or after school support, modification of classroom environment and behavior, and modification of instruction to address potential needs. So the last one is the evaluation of teaching programs. So you can determine effectiveness of program on learning and behavior of a children. That is the end of my discussion. So my group mate will continue to report the components of special and inclusive education.